Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit today about manifest destiny and whole idea of westward expansion. So, to start off, the president that started this whole idea was Thomas Jefferson, who came up with the idea of kind of expanding westward and expanding our nation as a whole, going west. So he chose these two guys, Meriwether Lewis and Clark, to go west and to try to explore and send back to him in Washington what they found and whether or not they could the U.S. nation could make a living out in the West. So these are two portraits of Lewis and Clark, and like I said, they were chosen by Thomas Jefferson to go westward. The whole idea of manifest destiny was created mostly by the U.S. government to kind of help encourage the U.S. population to move west, because otherwise people wouldn't have that much of incentives to move west if they didn't believe it was God's will for the U.S. to move west and to expand as a nation. People had lives, they had jobs in the East. It was industrialized. There wasn't much out in the West besides the Native Americans, and you kind of had to fend for yourself. So the government used the idea that it was God's will for the U.S. people to move westward. Here is just a map to help better illustrate the routes people took for expansion westward, and the kind of waves that people went in. So like the blue line is the route that Lewis and Clark took west, and then the Santa Fe Trail, lesser known trail, they kind of went down into New Mexico, or modern day New Mexico. The Oregon Trail, the better known trail, the green line goes up all the way through Colorado, Idaho, up into Oregon, hence Oregon Trail. And then finally the Transcontinental Railroad was built in 1869, and that kind of breaks off of Lewis and Clark's trail, and it goes out into California when that whole gold rush started. Unfortunately, there were some negative repercussions to the expansion westward. One of the more sad stories of the expansion westward was the Trail of Tears, and this occurred because as we moved westward, we infringed on the Native American land, and so the U.S. government decided it was our duty to relocate them, because we believed that all the land west was ours. So we saw fit to relocate them, which led to the Trail of Tears. And this was during the presidency of Andrew Jackson. The law that Andrew Jackson passed to relocate the Native Americans was the Indian Removal Act, which we will talk about later. It was a very big law that was passed, and the Native American people still hold this very much against President Jackson and the U.S. government. Okay, to lighten it up a little, some fun facts about the westward expansion that were pretty astounding to me. The population of the United States grew from 5.2 million people in 1800 to 76.2 million in 1900, which is a huge explosion of population, and it just shows you how much of an impact westward expansion had on the United States in terms of industrialization and population. And another thing that I thought was interesting was westward expansion had a very large part on the impact in the Civil War, due to the fact that the South, when the U.S. expanded west, we got new territory. The South believed that the land westward should be slave states, and vice versa. The North believed the West states should be free states. So that conflict led to the Civil War partly. So yeah, that's really all there is today on westward expansion, and I thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.